Blair White asks, I'm sorry, but how the hell did we land on the moon and back in 1969 but can't retrieve our astronauts from the space station in 2024? Great question, and I think I can answer it. In 1969, we had equipment designed to get people to the moon. We stopped using some of that equipment because we stopped going to the moon. Because the Apollo program, the one that covered the moon travel stuff, cost $25.8 billion adjusted for inflation. There's only so much you can do on the moon, and we even brought rocks back to Earth so that we could do science stuff here, where it's a bit cheaper and the commute isn't as long. The Apollo program ended in 1972. We're not about to start pulling pieces out of museums now to send them to the space station for the same reason you wouldn't put a dragster that's been sitting in your uncle's garage for 30 years into the Indy 500. It was never built to race in those conditions, and it probably wouldn't even run. Even if it did run, there's a good chance people would die. And we had a way of retrieving our astronauts from the space station in 2024, the Boeing Starliner. This whole thing is part of NASA's Commercial Crew Program, which is meant to be a partnership with American private industry to transport people to and from the International Space Station. But there were a lot of issues with the Boeing Starliner, it turns out, because space travel is very, very hard. I'll give you one more vehicle-based comparison. Imagine you work in an office, crunching numbers, writing reports. You have to drive to work, so you buy a car. You pay to put gas in it regularly. You pay for insurance. You pay to register it. You pay to maintain it. And then suddenly, you're told you can work from home. The grocery store is just a short walk away, and your Russian neighbor is willing to drive you further than that if you need it, as long as you pay for gas. So you sell the car, because that's much better for you financially. Now let's say, years later, you have to return to the office briefly. You take a taxi, but the taxi breaks down. Do you walk to the nearest car dealership, buy a car, get insurance, register it, fuel it up, or do you call another taxi? Probably the second one, right? Well, that's kind of like what NASA's doing right now. Just the scale of everything is much, much bigger. I hope this helps. If you have additional questions, leave a comment. Like this video if this clarified things for you. Subscribe for more nonsense like this. And until the next time, be good, stay safe.